Always got to wait for about that 10-second mark. There we go, just to make sure that YouTube will not cut off the first few seconds of whatever it is that happens to be being said. Welcome, folks. I am Nathan P. Butler. This is my YouTube channel. This is the Star Wars Battlefront Livestream Podcast, episode number 83. Again, Star Wars Battlefront Livestream Podcast because it is live streaming of Battlefront games, in this case Battlefront 2. Podcast not because it is an MP3 showing up in your podcatching software, but because it's much more about the commentary about the game, discussion with people in the chat, if there are people in the chat, which usually there are, or it's about conversation with me and a guest that I have with me on some episodes, like Jim Perry, Michael Morris, or someone like that. So not a podcast in the traditional sense, closer to a vodcast, but you get the gist. I, of course, am the guy behind A Saga on Home Video, a fan's guide to U.S. Star Wars home video releases, a new book from May that came out through Amazon.com. I'm the guy behind the Star Wars Timeline Gold, the most comprehensive Star Wars chronology document available anywhere at over 3,000 pages, 3,100 pages, I think, now, over at StarWarsFanWorks.com/timeline. Been around for 20 years in terms of that project. And then, of course, for the past 15 years now, going towards 16, I've been a Star Wars podcaster. My current podcast, Star Wars Beyond the Films, with Mark Herleman, and Cloud City Casino with Michael Morris, both on StarWarsReport.com. Here on this channel, you'll find things like From the Star Wars Home Video Library, Fantasy Flight Games, Star Wars game reviews and stuff like that. And, of course, my Patreon is patreon.com/Nathan P. Butler, where you can get some exclusive audio commentaries for things like Clone Wars episodes. All right, so spiel's out of the way. Ending out the spiel. Gonna jump in here. There's really not a lot, honestly, drawing me back to the game right now. What I found was I started the break for the holiday, and I'd hop on and get the new crate for the day, check and see if there was a daily thing to do. If it's quick, do it. And then that was about it. And that tended to be the way that things continued to play out over the span of this break. I now return to work on Thursday. I'm a teacher, so we have our first teachers' meetings on Thursday. And here I am nearing the end of the break, and it's still just not grabbing me at this point. Really into it initially, but it feels like they need to keep the momentum going. The season of The Last Jedi, maybe it would have made more sense to perhaps parcel it out a little at a time, instead of it just being the challenges that happen on a weekly basis. Because now, until they announce what's next, until we get a sense of what's coming up, there's not a lot drawing me back to it, particularly given that most of the more straightforward challenges are done. So at this point, we again are in the season of The Last Jedi. I've got our more recent challenges done and some of the bigger challenges done. There is one larger new challenge, Never Tell Me the Odds, that I've only just started dealing with in the last couple of days. Hey, EK. Which is to take out 150 enemy soldiers, and yes, that does mean soldiers. It doesn't count kills in Starfighter Assault. Hey, Vita. Whereas the one, let's see, it's not on there now. There was another one recently that was basically just kill X number of enemies, and it didn't specify soldiers, so you could do it in whatever mode you wanted. I think it was 30. I did it in Starfighter Assault, knocked it out in just a few matches. Whereas now I'm slowly working on the other long-term one, which is this one for defeat 150 in, the long stretch of about a month or a little shorter than that. So with 13 days left, that's what I'm going to be working on to get that Iden Versio booster crate. But otherwise, just not a lot of oomph. I did spend a lot of my crafting parts recently on my fighter class because I need to knock out hero ships with it to be able to get one of the milestones done. So I'm sitting there with, if the pictures will load, epic reinforced hull tune lasers and rare advanced torpedoes. That's where all my crafting parts went. Hello, Papa Wedge and EK. Awesome. Very cool. What do you think? Or have you had a chance to actually start looking at it at all? All right, so jumping into, I guess, Galactic Assault will work. I just need to slowly grind out kills for that other challenge. Slowly but surely. Sure would be nice if they could make it so that the Last Jedi challenges show up correctly on the end results screen for a match. Still don't show up right. Sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. When they do show up, they usually show you what the stats were before the match you just finished, not after. So I expect to be going in and out of matches from time to time to go and figure out where my stats are and where I stand on the challenge. But I know I've got like I think the official term is a crap ton of enemies still to kill for that challenge, so it doesn't really matter. I can play for a while without having to worry too much about it. So, awesome. Cool. Thank you, Vida. Yeah, I'm slowly gathering more stuff looking ahead towards when we eventually will have Last Jedi out, and I still think it's probably going to be after episode 9 when I put out a new edition of the book. It just seems wrong to do it any time before that. Every time I get a few new things, I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to write about this. But then I'm like, but let's wait. I have other projects to work on at the time, for the time being, so I've kind of sat that stuff aside to eventually write a nice big burst. I tend to do the writing better when I have a lot to do all at once and kind of choosing ways to get to it. What the heck? I spawned with my face partly in the geography. Awesome. Blech. Okay.
So we'll need to locate a new one and organize a launch.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the extensive knowledge of the other regions' home video stuff as I do for the U.S., so I was like, I'm going to stick to the U.S., and if it's cool foreign releases I want to talk about, I'll just put them in a sidebar. And there we go. You know, 2 birds, 1 stone. Or 2 porgs, 1 hungry Wookiee, maybe. Hello, JL. Happy New Year's to you as well. Not ready for a new school year yet. No, but I still have to start showing up for the meetings on Monday anyway. Or on Thursday. But, yeah, we'll see. Hey, Jared. Welcome. I almost said happy birthday. Happy New Year. It's one of those days. Although, to be fair, my dad's birthday is on New Year's Eve, so technically I'm saying happy birthday and happy New Year around the same time anyway. And yes, Papa Waits, this game expands on Operation Cinder. I mean, the whole of Operation Cinder is this much broader thing where it's basically kind of burning out remnants of resistance, Imperial worlds even that weren't sufficiently Imperial, kind of like Nazis who were like, you're not Nazi enough, right? And this gives us Operation Cinder on a couple of planets, whereas we saw more of it in Shattered Empire, and we get references to it elsewhere in Aftermath books and so forth. What the hell? Oh, turret detonation. I was like, how did that happen? So, yeah. So, it gives you more, but I don't think we've ever gotten the full story. I doubt we'll ever will get the full story. They'll just keep having different Imperial operations in this era and just labeling them as part of Operation Cinder. Unlike something like Operation Shadow Hand in Dark Empire 2 that was relatively self-contained to that story. And school year has not started up again for us. Not technically. We have meetings Thursday and Friday. Students come back on Monday. But that means that sometime in the next day or so, I've got a couple of tweaks I'm making to our economics class that I'm gonna that I want to put into effect, because I've been unhappy with only a couple of things about our economics class from the platform that we use, but I'm customizing it to basically fix those things that I've seen as drawbacks. So I'm working, but I'm not necessarily, you know, back at work per se.
Starting generator shutdown sequence.
Yep. I had a couple people. There were a couple things that were spouted out that were accurate, and we had a couple that weren't. But I don't recall if it was the same person or not, honestly. And I think that a lot of it also is, and maybe the reason why I'm not quite as bothered by it is I'm much more sort of the J. Michael Straczynski mode of storytelling, which is it's not necessarily what happens, but how and why it happens that to me is the interesting part. So, for instance, if somebody comes in and shouts out, you know, Luke died, it's like, okay, well, how, why, in what context, at whose hand, and so on. You know, I think that's the more interesting part to me. Oh, crap, it's going to hit me. Yep, couldn't get out the fire fast enough. Yeah, it's also why, for a while there, I wasn't even sure I wanted to do much in the way of new streams right before the film. I cut the one on the day before the film fairly short. Why are you pointing that thing at me? Why are you yesing? I can yes too. Yes! Yes! Woo! Okay, let's go. Come on, bro. While we're here celebrating each other, apparently, saying yes, 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 which doesn't really sound right. Here we are, probably losing. There we go. So if my voice seems a little raw, if I'm stopping and swallowing more or grabbing drinks more, it's because we just finished. Mark and I just finished recording the first of our four-part year in review for Star Wars Beyond the Films. We did the one about the books, and let's just say I got a little heated when it came to the topic of Legends of Luke Skywalker, because God, that was an awful, awful book. And I had a chance to finally express my feelings about how incredibly awful of a book it was. Did my person just give a thumbs up when he did that? That was nifty. Trying to get just the right angle to get some of these guys, but no, because now he put out his turret. Whoa! Yeah, I was planning on during the break. My wife has gone on a trip. She just left today to go on a trip that she's taking with some friends of hers who have similar times of birthdays. Kind of a girls' trip up to Gatlinburg. But the plan was, once she was on her way, one of the things I'd do is I'd marathon all the Star Wars films. And I got through Phantom Menace today, and I nodded off for about half an hour of it. So I'm just like, if I'm going to do this, I must find something to do while I'm marathoning, or I'm going to wind up not. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go through and marathon them all, mainly because I haven't watched them all on the new TV and sound system yet. Which, granted, is not super new anymore, but I just haven't had the time to do it. But, yeah, not so much. Let's see. Oh, God, it is... Yeah, Jared, it is awful. It is god-awful. I mean, the first part of it is probably the best part, and then it's just downhill from there. I don't know. I without spoiling it, as if anybody actually really cares on that one. Without spoiling it, I can't say too much more, except for, you know, I never thought I'd see a Star Wars book in which one of the main characters was basically a flea. I never expected that. And I never want to see it again. Like, ever. Very nice. Okay, that's why it's there. It's finding, unfortunately, so many of them, the newer ones don't have product numbers. Like, there was an era in which there just were not product numbers on them, aside from their UPC codes, so you wouldn't be able to necessarily hunt them down by that. And then hunting down some of them was a real pain, because stuff like, you know, you try to find the ones from, say, the mid-'80s releases, right? Being able to tell the difference between, say, a copy of A New Hope from 85, well, from 86, or the era after 86, or Empire from 84, or 86, or after 86 is a pain, because the only way to tell the difference is the positioning of a trailer on the tape itself, and most people who are selling them aren't going to take the time to look at it. Heck, most people selling them are selling them because they don't have access to a player for it anymore, so they couldn't check if they wanted to, which just makes it kind of a pain for some of those early ones. Let's see. No sex for promotion via a mouse droid. That is a plus, but I would still probably reread from a certain point of view again prior to rereading Legends of Luke Skywalker. I would reread Phasma again, which is actually one of the things we talked about on the episode. Mark was like, so would you read this over reading this book again? And I'm like, I'd just about anything more than that one again. And I did just see the thing about the Japanese Laserdisc. That is cool. I saw the thing about the extra copy. That's awesome. To be able to get the behind-the-scenes thing with it. I don't actually have any of the Japanese behind-the-scenes stuff yet, aside from the ones that were in box sets with the movies yet.
We go down now. At least that planet killer weapon dies with us.
In order.
Blast those troopers, and we head
Interesting.
ground.
So in chronological order then, as opposed to release order.
Summon it and bring the hangar.
We actually, so my wife and I, and no, JL not. I am not. I never got into Digimon at all. My wife and I, one of our traditions is that we go out to eat together for lunch pretty much every Sunday, unless it's a weekend that she works, in which case we do it on a Saturday. And we've tended, because of her dietary restrictions, to gravitate towards usually going to the local Chili's and just, because I can find a lot of different things that I can eat, and then there's a few things there that she can eat without having to worry about health issues with it. They do a good job of replacing the regular meat in most things with a black bean patty kind of thing if you really have to stay away from meat, which she does. We found out that this woman who waits on us almost every time we're in there, that her kids are starting to slowly get into Star Wars because they're getting into the droids, but they've never seen the movies. So we just got a chance this past weekend to give her a Christmas gift that we got, which was for her youngest, a little BB-8, like little kid's hat and little kid's gloves, that sort of thing. But in particular, I probably shouldn't stand still, should I? I haven't played as Finn yet. Oh, son of a whore! Max number in play, I didn't push the button fast enough. Oh, well. But we went to Walmart and got her the new reissue of the original trilogy set that has the Forces of Destiny disc in it. So our thought was, start them off the right way, start them off with the original trilogy, because that way, the thought process is that then they could go from there to any of the other movies and get something out of it. Whereas if we started them with Force Awakens, it wouldn't have been as easy to, for instance, to go to the prequels if they wanted to, just depending on preference. Ah, yeah, butthole. Hello, Marat? Is that Marat or Marat? I'm thinking of the French Revolution era artist, which I think was pronounced Marat. How about a reskin of Chewbacca that changes him to Itchy? No. Unless his superpower is that he gains energy, kind of like the leadership skill, right? But instead of it being through saying, we can do it or whatever, he puts on a little VR helmet and does the whole Wookiee virtual porn thing that we saw him do in the holiday special. They have to include the bad if they're going to include the... Oh, no, wait. No, they just got to include the bad. I was going to say they got to include the bad if they're going to include the good, but was Itchy really a good? Really? Not much. Nice, right? Which Porg did you wind up getting? I've got my wife a couple. We got a stuffed one that I guess I just found at Toys R Us. I'm not even sure what brand it was. Just a little stuffed Porg. And then she loves the Star Wars Build-A-Bear stuff, and she collects the Star Wars Build-A-Bears. So when I got her birthday and Christmas stuff, I got her a bunch of the new Star Wars Build-A-Bears, but got the Build-A-Bear Porg to go with it. But it's just like a little Porg. It's not like a bear that looks like a Porg or anything like that. So we got a couple Porgs in the house, not a bunch of them. See, it didn't move. 23 was where I started. So any of the kills that I just got didn't count towards that. I mean, it'll count towards it, but it's not showing up in the thingy. Could make the guns a cut. Yeah, maybe. Nice. Yeah, I haven't played as Finn at all yet. I played as Phasma a couple of times. Thing is that usually I'm not looking at playing as the heroes. Even when I've got the battle points, it's not something I tend to think about because I'm trying to do stuff like, X number of kills with a sniper rifle, X number of kills with assault class, or whatever, for the milestones. Although I'm realizing that I'm never going to do all the milestones because, once again, the single-player stuff, no. Some of those arcade scenarios are brutal. So it'll be just like the first game where, I did all of it except for those, which stunk. I tried to watch DL. I tried to watch the Nostalgia Critics review of Last Jedi. I got about 5 minutes in and just had to turn it off because I could not bear it. It just was not doing it for me at all. Until Dawn was awesome. I'm really looking forward to... they got a new VR game coming early this year called The Inpatient. Their Until Dawn Rush of Blood was pretty good, but it wasn't, story-based really to any large degree or anything like that. So I'm stoked for Inpatient because it should be, a quality story like what Until Dawn was in VR, which is my whole... That's my thing. I mean, about the only games I'm playing right now that aren't VR, on PS4 at least, are this. I hope someday we'll have VR content. And I'm playing Doom, but I'm playing Doom because I'm also playing Doom VFR, and I want to know more about the story and the background of that universe, because I never played the 2016 Doom game. And then I'm playing Shadow of War, but I'm playing that on my Xbox One S, which really, I'm just trying to finish it at this point. I'm so burnt out on that game at this point. Yeah, it's like a one game delay when it comes to, but it's only the new challenges. It's not like the regular challenges or the milestones. It's like the Last Jedi challenge, for instance. Come on, is nobody gonna try to come through this door? I always try to come. Screw it. I'm gonna stand there and get somebody as they're trying to come in, but if they're not gonna bother trying to come in.
Tractor control restored.
Tractor control restored. Thank you, John Deere. Why can't I be in the game as a hero? Probably you have to give me some context for that, for me to be able to respond. What is my grade for Last Jedi? I really liked it, but I know it's incredibly divisive, so I try not to spend too much time on it. I've done some reaction video stuff, and we did a reaction episode of Beyond the Films. I particularly enjoyed it for what it was. Uh-oh! Come on, come on. Pop him! And then I got killed by a detonator.
I'm ready.
On ready. A, B, C, or D? I'd probably give it an A. Ah, gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, I gotta wonder, I mean, it'd be nice to have more, I would say not even have him on here, like this type of mode, but to have more of the pilots represented as hero ships, especially when all it really is, in many cases, is just shuffling around some abilities and reskinning a ship, Yeah, and even if they haven't, JL, there's a spoiler warning at the bottom. It's not in the title of the video anymore because I don't figure it's needed there, but it's in that little thing at the bottom, so people don't want to read. That's on them. Yeah, I'd say it's probably, I think it has reached, after multiple viewings, I think it has now reached my #1 slot. I think it puts because usually I think of them as tiers, because usually like the first and second kind of vacillate back and forth, third and fourth vacillate back and forth, but it's always those two ahead of those other two kind of thing. Uh-oh. They came from behind. Well, okay, then where is he from behind? Oh, there he is. It's Yoda. Oh, shit. Everybody run. Excuse me. Coming through. Yoda. Gonna kill everybody. Oh, shit. Yeah, I knew that wasn't going to go well. Yeah, Dennis Lawson not being back or somebody being back as Wedge is has been very negative, I think, to that particular character. And I think I just saw a question of whether I played the Old Republic. I do not. I played a little bit of the beginning of one class's character, but because for my Star Wars Timeline Gold, the most comprehensive Star Wars chronology available anywhere, sorry, mental tick, because I need to be able to summarize all the classes and all of the story in general, there was no way I was going to be able to have the time to play through every class, so I just watched the basic gameplay videos enough to be able to get a general gist of the story. So I'm familiar with the original game. I haven't followed the expansions yet. That's something I need to do over the next year, is watch gameplay videos of the entirety of all the expansions to be able to summarize them too. Okay.
Rebels at the generator. Powering down.
If you wait long enough in the Kylo story mission after Scare, if you hear Iden mention Saint Marata giving her... Interesting. Very interesting. Like I said, I've played it a little. It's just there's no way I would have the time to delve enough into it to play it. And I'm not really big on the MMO kind of thing. Closest I've come to MMO gaming has been big persistent world shooters like Destiny and Defiance.
They've run out of time. Sector secure and all escape routes cut off.
Will Mark Hamill be back? I would imagine so. I can't imagine them not having him back now that he showed up. But I mean, to have him back, I mean, he'd be back in sort of a supporting role as opposed to a major role, which is kind of what they seem to be wanting to do as a transition from one generation to the next, I would think. Yeah, I'm not hyped about the Han Solo movie at all. The fact that we don't have a trailer yet kind of bugs me. It's a little bit on the worrisome side. 32. I'd much rather be playing Starfighter Assault, but I can't because of that freaking piece of crap. Well, I guess I could stand to go back at some point back to the menu screen and look and see what other milestones I can at least work on while I'm working on that one. At some point. Ewan McGregor as a Force Ghost would be good. There we go. Well, that's the thing. I mean, there are story elements of the other ones, of the other classes that actually interweave, that sort of depend on each other once you pull all of them together. But yeah, I did know that they're now basically focusing straight through. And for the record, it's not a canon one; it is a C canon one, because canon is now a different thing than the Legends tiered lettered canon levels. Just to not confuse people. Ready.
You all wondering why we came to Jakku?
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with Leia now, since they claim that they're not going to do a digital recreation.
Our plan was to grab the
Although
droid
technically
and
they did for this one.
It's never that easy, though. We got the droid,
Albeit
but
for just the
we've
one
also
scene.
got stormtroopers landing.
Alright
We'll have the
guys,
enemy at the landing
let's
pad
go!
And I'll try and figure a way out.
One of those modes where or this particular map where I'm like, can we just have it end after the first segment? Because that's when I'm going to probably get the most kills, because I'll be able to do some sniping from up here. Okay, good.
First order's going for reactor control!
And what's the second order? Oh, that's not what you meant. Try to keep moving so I don't get shot while I'm looking for... nope, dead. I really ought to just turn off the personal shield so I've got my... I'll turn on something else instead. What do we want? Expert weapons handling. Sure, why? Or wait, what is that? Hell, whatever. That way I've got my thermal binoculars back. Because thermal binoculars will let me at least spot where the enemy is before I try to get a good sniping position. See? There they all are! Running around like little ants. Oh, and I still got shot by one of them. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Lando. I want to see Billy D. Williams back. But there's going to have to be an explanation as to why he hasn't been around. Although, granted, he could have just retired to a nice, normal life, you know? It's like, hey, I was in this because I got pulled in for Han, and then after everything else, I'm like, hey, screw it. Screw you guys, I'm going home, is what I'm saying. How did I not smoke that guy yet? Come on! There. At least he's dead! Damn it! Why did he have to quit Dancing with the Stars early?
Ready to go.
Rat, tag out. I didn't remember he was going to be on Dancing with the Stars. Ah, gotcha.
Losing ground at reactor control.
Keep them occupied. Get over there.
They could have. Now, see what it makes me wonder if part of the Han Solo film goal is to get Donald Gleason, or not Donald Gleason, not what is his name? The dude that's playing Lando. Get the dude that's playing Lando to be so synonymous with Lando in our minds, or at least the minds of new viewers, that they could age him up for Episode 9. So if they wanted to use him, they wouldn't have to use Billy D. Williams. Although, imagine the crap storm that would cause. You guys are ageist, man. You're ageist. Yep. And he came back and voiced Lando for the Rebels as well. Would I rather listen to the Porg sound for an hour straight or read Legends of Luke Skywalker again? Legends of Luke Skywalker took longer than an hour to read, so give me the Porg sound. Anybody out there? Hello? Is there anybody out there? Oh, there's one guy out there. Damn it. Just hit the mother... I see you. Is Starkiller the person Legends or canon? Legends. C canon. C-level canon. Continuity level canon in the hierarchy of Legends, which is the whole G, T, C, S in thing. And no, Starkiller, the character, is not in the game. Starkiller base from the story group's canon is in the game. Okay. I actually find this is a better way, streaming, that is a better way for me to go try to get kills towards that thing than actually just playing the game, because at least this way I'm having conversations and I don't really care as much about the gameplay. I'm not really paying as much attention to the gameplay, as opposed to when I'm off stream and I'm just playing and I'm focused on the playing. Whenever I'm getting nothing but kill assists instead of kills, pisses me off to no end. So it's perhaps better for my it's better for my blood pressure to be to be playing this way. I hope that 2018 will be a less divisive year for Star Wars fans than 2018 was, but oh! Disney owns Fox, so again, we won't, and we've done this enough times that I'm not going to go into the whole thing all over again, but suffice to say, if anybody can do it, they can, but they would have to recreate it because the original negatives do not exist. And you can't just upscale the existing masters. They're not, at least not of unaltered, because they're not high enough resolution to start with. For all we know, it could turn out that the Han Solo film is friggin' awesome. You know, there are some movies that I'll be like, yeah, whatever, and they turn out great. It's just we haven't necessarily seen a Star Wars movie where I felt like that, but it could turn out to be awesome. Like, we went to go see Valerian, and I was like, whatever. And I thought that was a pretty good film, even though the casting decisions were kind of crappy. That could be the way it is with Han Solo.
Get some more people to react
Yeah.
to control.
Or just a new, you know, give him a new card with a higher pilot stat that's just like a later version of himself. But it turns out that Chewie never really got his due as a pilot because he was always the co-pilot to Han. You can't use the team negative ones; they're not high enough resolution. Again, doesn't work like that. Shit! And their restoration, if you watch the team negative one stuff, the restoration isn't clean. They restored it so that it looks like going to see it back in the 80s. So it's got all the grain and crap in it on purpose. That would have to be cleaned away, and the way you clean a negative like that, it's not a digital thing. Generally, it's going to be, you know, clean the inside. Silver Screen Edition, same thing, if I remember correctly. Isn't one of the team isn't the team negative one thing the Silver Screen Edition for A New Hope? That is. Yeah, why doing Han Solo is still kind of, you know. Center, for all we know, it could just be the fact that, you know, maybe the day shift hasn't changed on the Death Star. Maybe the Death Star's day versus the day on Yavin isn't the same or something. Or he could just be saying day in the figurative sense, you know. This would be a day like early May of 1945. This will be a day long remembered because it will see the collapse of the Nazis and VE Day and the death of Hitler, kind of thing, you know. An easy idea. Yes, let's do a film that is recreating with a different actor one of the most iconic characters of the series, because that's going to be easy. Yeah, I expect that Solo will turn out to be about prequel-esque or a little bit higher in my estimation, because right now the prequels are all two of the three prequels are my bottom tier in terms of the films.
Droid from the local scavengers. Though the droid may seem insignificant, I assure you it is most valuable.
I see it being released in May. I think if it's not going to be released in May, they damn well better be telling us something soon. Curious if I can actually walk around the backside. I can! I never actually tried to walk around the backside of that thing. Oh, going around the backside of the the shuttle thing. And you need to be able to kill these guys. You need to get points for killing civilians instead of them just being blaster-proof. Alright. Yeah, the fact that we still haven't seen a trailer for Solo makes me a little nervous. It's like when you get a review copy of something, but they send it after it's already out because they didn't want negative reviews out. Like, I now understand why I got Legends of Luke Skywalker's review copy after the book's release. Yeah. Frickin' space flea. And it wasn't even a cool space flea. Like, it wasn't like the space version of Red Hot Chili Peppers flea. It was just a friggin' little flea. Ah! Really liked how it was going until The Last Jedi. I've heard that quite a bit. Although, interestingly, The Last Jedi is the one that did anything particularly unexpected, or wasn't retreading in a lot of safe areas to some degree. Hello, and EK is saying have a... Nope. Nope and nope, actually. I'm actually thinking about getting... There's supposed to be some kind of like Ultimate Collection Blu-ray coming out, maybe even 4K of the Friday the 13th films, and I may get that. I was a big fan of Nightmare on Elm Street rather than Friday the 13th. So really the only Friday the 13th I think I've actually seen all the way through. There's 2 of them. Jason X because of the sci-fi premise. Come on! And Freddy vs. Jason because of the tie to Freddy. Honestly, I don't see the need at this point of nearly as much concern about those copies, keeping those 2006 copies pristine, because I have so damn many of them now because of all the different store variants and bonuses they put out for them. Just curious if that's going to actually do any good. No, probably not. Okay. Bob, and how now? I'm not exactly sure how that works. So we need to figure out who Bob is to figure out whose pics need to be sent. Maybe he was trying to say pics of Bob from Virginia, perhaps. Oh, come on. Got him in the face, but I guess the distance had too much of a damage drop off for him.
We're holding the outer perimeter. Regroup and move deeper into the wreckage.
But I don't want to move deeper into the wreckage. If I move deeper into the wreckage, I'm not going to be able to snipe from here, you buttheads.
They have the droid they're after.
Bye-bye. Okay. Fine, fine, fine. I'll just do my quick little falling down from that thing, because apparently falling does virtually no damage in this game. They may not be able to jump worth a damn, but they can sure take a fall. Yeah, exactly. In a sniper fight, the lagless trooper is king. I don't think I've seen any of the Halloween series. Not that I know of. If so, I don't remember it well enough to be able to even say that I'd seen it. So, probably not. I don't think it's supposed to be Hux talking. I haven't really been paying attention. I'll have to see who it is that's talking. Why the First Order's getting the kid? Yeah, it's the indoctrination thing. Plus, it's one of the things, I forget which book it's in, but they talk about how the First Order doesn't want to do a clone army because during the Clone Wars you had instances of the attempts to make essentially a virus that, or some kind of disease that would genetically target specific individuals, and all you would have to basically do is make one that genetically targets, say, Jango Fett or a clone, and you just basically wiped out the entire clone army. So the idea was that it makes them less likely to be able to be targeted by specific genetically targeted biological weapons. Wow, there's got to have been an easier, more succinct way for me to say that. My bad. What I think of Hux and Kylo in The Last Jedi, I think it works pretty well. I think they've always had that antagonism and the snarkiness, so to be able to kind of play that up, especially now that Daddy's no longer there looking over their shoulder anymore, whole new ball game, you know? And I think that it's perfectly in keeping with Kylo's character to do that, because you see Kylo, and he's basically being abused by his one father figure right now, which is Snoke. And we know that psychologically, generally, an abuser will have a high likelihood of becoming an abuser themselves, or an abused person will have a likelihood of becoming an abuser themselves, and that's exactly what we're seeing Kylo do. He's following that line of psychological derivation. I thought that was pretty cool. Not necessarily a good thing for Hux, but the fact that, you know, it fits the way they've been characterizing him, I think works well. Yoo-hoo! I saw you through the hole! Oh! How you like that? JL, I think it depends on how you look at Snoke. If you look at Snoke as he was being set up as the big mystery and the big bad for the entire series, he was wasted. If you look at it as Hux's purpose in existence was to be a stepping stone for Kylo in his character development, I'm not nearly as bothered by it. And I gotta say, the music cue there is my favorite music cue in the movie, where it's as the sit down the controller, but as the blade slashes through and goes through the air, and we see Rey's hand come up and grab it, and we get the classic music playing right there with the. It turns out that my favorite music cues in both Episode 7 and Episode 8 both have to do with a lightsaber flying into Rey's hand and the music that plays when it happens.
Perhaps he's got an issue.
Oh! Exotic pasta. That's right. It's spaghetti with wine or
In
something.
position, capturing the hole.
I love to see more backstory to him now that we kind of know his fate. Because now, in theory, if they're not going to do anything with him for episode 3 of this trilogy, episode 9, they should feel free to be able to flesh him out in books, comics, whatever.
Now, purge the resistance. The hold is ours. Chase the enemy down.
Purge the resistance. You're not supposed to say purge. Were you not listening to the news recently about the whole thing and how you're not supposed to use the word purge anymore? Reaction when I saw Yoda, oh my god, what's wrong with his cheeks? That was my response to Yoda. Yoda has been eating better in the afterlife than Yoda did in life. But otherwise, glad to see him. I have seen batteries not included, but it's been so long ago I don't remember a whole lot about it. I think Finn was going to die. I was kind of shocked. I was like, oh, I think he might actually die, but no. No, his heroic moment gets taken away by Rose. And one of Rose's big heroic deeds doesn't even get explained in the film. It takes a book to explain that she's the one that came up with the baffle thing that basically is why the resistant ships are able to fly with basically stealth. Yep. I think it's funny that, you know, Yoda basically acts as the cover for Rey, too, because Rey steals the books. We see her confrontation with Luke, you know, did you create Kylo Ren? Right? And then, and by the way, I love Daisy Ridley's accent. I mock it because I love the accent. I just like saying it in that accent because my accent's nowhere near that. If anything, mine is closer to, did you create Kylo Ren? But the fact that, you know, we go from that scene to the Falcon flying away. In between those scenes, she must have stolen the books, because we see the books later in the film inside the drawer, and we see her stuffing them in the drawer without realizing what they are, right before she goes in the escape pod to get aboard the Mega Star Destroyer. So, Yoda is basically covering for him. That's why he can't let Luke inside. Boom! You know, here's the lightning. Oh no, Luke's on his way inside. Suspicious gust of flame blows Luke back so he can't go inside and see that the books are in there, or not in there anymore.
Resistance commander on site. Can't get an ID.
You know?
Going.
Although it's interesting that Yoda seems really focused on wanting to train females as Jedi, because if you read from a certain point of view, we learned that really Yoda wanted it to be Leia that got trained, not Luke, but circumstances dictated otherwise. Not just that he would be the one training Leia, but that Leia would be the one to get trained. Sin video on Last Jedi would be pretty cool.
This is taking too long. Secure the east exit now.
Let's see. I hate the way that this puts the pressure on my ears to the point where the area around my ears starts aching. Yeah. Clones fight together to the end. Conscripts fight together until it looks like we're all gonna die, and then they run. Steve McQueen's Bullet. I've heard of it, but I've never actually seen it. If it's Steve McQueen, then obviously it's an older film. Do you know when it's from? Aha! Papa Wedge. It would make sense now that he looks that way. Because now that's what we're seeing, right? Because now we've got young Anakin somehow replacing Sebastian Shaw in Return of the Jedi. Even though Obi-Wan is still looking the same as he did when he died, right? But yeah, apparently you could sort of choose an idealized form, I guess, if you're a Force ghost or something. And Yoda's like,
oh, need a few more pounds put back on, I do.
It turns out that, you know, the Force is an actual location and they've got a Quickie Mart where he buys a bunch of, like, Force Twinkies.
Let's do
Oh,
this together.
Twinkies I love.
Why didn't Luke have his green lightsaber? That's what I want to know. My guess is that they're going to say that he got rid of it at a time and place when Kylo would have known about it, or maybe Kylo even stole it as he left, with Luke buried. But that for whatever reason, he should have recognized either lightsaber as making no sense for Luke to have, but that he was blinded by his rage, so he didn't recognize that the one he just saw destroyed was the one that was being used against him. I'm hoping the novelization addresses that. Jason's pretty good at covering loopholes.
Oh!
Did. That's true, the hand would just be like hanging out on the island.
We can do this.
Imagine if at some point Luke had given it like autonomy with some type of like special thing so that if he died it would be alive, so you can have like this weird cybernetic thing running around the island. Da 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 da. Ding ding. Fish nuns.
Station at the west exit.
I'm pretty sure there's a dirty joke in there somewhere. Split is pretty good. But make sure you've also watched Unbreakable, because Unbreakable and Split are the same universe and are going to be funneling into a sequel that combines that works as a sequel to both. Maybe that's his favorite version of himself. Maybe it reminds him of better times or something.
I'll cover you.
We're in overtime. All right, guys, we're in overtime. And being in the Atlanta area, let's treat this overtime like the Georgia Bulldogs as opposed to treating it like the Falcons during the Super Bowl. Although, granted, it wasn't overtime during the Super Bowl. Oh, crap, it's Luke. And it's over.
The resistance has escaped. The Imperial
As he
droid
just
is
introduced
gone.
my wife to
Now
Unbreakable
its
the other
secrets
day,
belong
and
to
she
the
wasn't
enemy.
all that interested in it. I like it, but like me. Have I seen Signs? I don't think I have. Not that I recall. And if I had seen it, I'd be able to turn that into an Ace of Base joke, but I can't, apparently. How's the weather here? Cold! Damn cold! Real cold! But still not nearly as bad as a lot of places. So I shouldn't gripe too much about it. But yeah, it's pretty freaking cold. Cold enough that we've taken the outdoor cats into the garage, which is fun, since now we can't park in there. Why didn't they make a first order tie defense? Well, I mean, that's basically what the tie silencer is. It's based on advances in the tie defender technology, according to Incredible Cross Sections. You watched an M. Night Shyamalan movie, and instead of being excited and wanting to watch another one, you said, screw it? What a twist! Yeah, it's a cross between Doc Brown and Robin Williams in Good Morning Vietnam. But in Good Morning Vietnam, it's hot. It's hot! Damn hot! Real hot! That's cool. EK, actually, the friend of my wife's that's sort of leading this trip that she and the 3 other women are going on this week actually just got done doing some boxing training. She trains boxers in Perth, apparently, just recently. So she was actually, my wife had to go pick her up from the airport as she was coming back in for them to go on the trip. I can't imagine coming from that weather to here where it's, you know, for once it's below freezing. And of course my family back home was like, oh, it's below freezing. Good for you. Because like yesterday it was 1 degree back home.
We're short on firepower, but the enemy isn't. So we're going to steal the water from this supply outpost.
Lady in the water.
Override the main computer, fuel station, and water bay controls, and get ready to ride.
It's like an Olympic swimming story. No, I know what you're talking about. It's a very vague name, though, isn't it? There's a lady in the water. Ah!
Grenade out!
Speaking of British accent ladies, how about that Doctor Who finale, huh? Or not finale, I guess Christmas special. Very stoked to see where the new Doctor goes from here.
Together.
And it's very cool seeing the first Doctor back. Yep, no canon Who jibs yet. Not that we know of. Yeah, the Resistance bombers are really slow and lumbering. Not a big fan of the MG-100s. MG-100 Star Fortresses. Although it's interesting that that bottom part that has the bombs in it can be removed like a clip or a magazine on a weapon. Yeah, Karen Gillan as Amy Pond is one of my favorite companions, if not my single favorite companion of any companions on Doctor Who. And her rapport with the Matt Smith Doctor was awesome. Was hilarious. Then you throw in Arthur Darvill as Rory Williams, her fiance, into the mix, and it's awesome. He is my Doctor. Everybody has like their one favorite Doctor that is their Doctor. My Doctor is 11, the Matt Smith Doctor, specifically in the era of Amy and Rory. Let's see. Have I watched all the Harry Potter movies in 4K yet? I actually haven't watched any of them in 4K yet. The set is still just sitting in there because I've been trying to finish up as much as I can of my Star Trek rewatch. I'm almost to the point where it's not a rewatch, it's stuff I'd never seen before. But I think I still have maybe one season left to go. I'm just at the end of Season 2 of Voyager, and I have a couple more episodes to finish of the corresponding season of DS9. But I figure within about a couple of months I'll hopefully be done with that giant Trek rewatch. But Oculus was all right. It's weird hearing Karen Gillan without the accent, though, that she had on Doctor Who.
Main computer is ours. No need to protect it any longer. Head to the other targets.
Yeah, we know a little bit more about the strategy thanks to Incredible Cross Sections and Bomber Command novel. But it turns out that they're also used for like stealthy delivery of cargo, not just bombs. Again, stealthy because of the baffles that are invented by Rose. Or the baffle technologies. Get up there! Ah! Ah! There we go. I like the reboots quite a bit, but they're very different than what came before. I'm finding my appreciation for Voyager has increased with this rewatch compared to when I watched it originally. Probably because I was comparing it so much to Next Generation. And my appreciation for Deep Space Nine is quite a bit more now that I kind of know their end game. When it was first on TV, I was constantly comparing it to Babylon 5 because they ripped off the Babylon 5 pilot script that Straczynski shopped around. But at least now I'm able to sort of watch it and enjoy it as its own thing. Oh, come back! Come back here, you... dead. Rose, annoying or good? She's a good character, but she needs more. She needs to be fleshed out more. Picard versus Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren will kill him. Picard is not a fighter, really, so he's screwed. He's dead. There are 4 lights! Let go! You're still living with the 4 lights thing! Let go! Their minds, definitely, Picard. I don't see Kylo Ren as a real strategic thinker. I'm more of a doer, not a thinker. They must be like in the thing underneath me because I keep seeing the thing telling me I'm basically standing on an enemy, and that's not the case.
Enemy retaking the fuel station.
Kirk or Picard? Kirk is probably more willing to play dirty. But from a character standpoint, I much prefer Picard to Kirk.
Override online. Transferring Walker Bay control.
Can I shoot through the stairs? Shoot through the stairs. Shoot him like you don't care. Dala versus Kylo again. You're talking about mind? Dala. If you're talking about physical fight, he freezes her in place and kills her. Or worse. That is my answer, though, to all of those. If you have the if someone does not have the ability to ward off being frozen by Kylo, then they are dead. Unless you're talking about some other aspect of the character like strategy, in which case Kylo I don't see as a major strategic mind. Ow. So Data depends. If he's freezing you at the Force, is it because he's actually physically freezing you, or is he causing your brain to think that you can't move and therefore you don't or can't move? If it's mental, Data's got it all over the place because Data doesn't have a human-type brain. If it's physical, he's just as screwed as anybody else. Ow. Ah. See, I don't know. See, Kylo, I mean, I think if you're going for whiny bitchness, I mean, I think Anakin was pretty big on that scale, and it's just that we missed his transition from that into Badass Vader. Because he certainly had a lot of that going on before. Like as much as Kylo is emo because he is much more of an emotional, complex, psychological character than Vader often was portrayed as, I can't see Kylo being like, I hate sand. It's rough and coarse and it gets everywhere. It's just, no. I already did that one several times in previous chats, I believe. And hello, Star-Lord, welcome. Alright, so do I even want to... I'll do one more and then see where my stats stand. Because it's one of those... I mean, I'm just grinding out that stupid challenge. And you can tell, like, players needed. Other players are like, why am I playing? Being drawn back into it. I don't care. I don't care. Again, my caveat on emo Peter Parker versus Kylo Ren is that they would not fight. They would be emo together and both talk about how much life sucks and women have abandoned them. But that they don't care because they're too good for that. They might actually stare at each other at each other's pecs for a little bit.
For the Empire. The rebels are attacking a supply post.
Yes, it is a beautiful game. The music is done fairly well too, but I have to turn the music off or else it gets the copyright strike and people can't see it on certain devices. Even though live streaming is perfectly fine. Whee! Yeah, you can't die from jumping, apparently. But the story is fairly good. If you read the Inferno Squad book, I think you get more out of the story than just playing the game itself, though.
Oh, what you got?
Hello? Come on, stick your head back out here, son. We all know how this part of the match works. People kind of creeping around that corner. Come on. I actually don't have it on right now. My wife got me a bunch of Star Wars clothing for Christmas because I actually didn't have very much of it. So we got like this Boba Fett shirt here. But what strikes me is she got me one that has Vader on it. It says, "Hey Vader, nice suit. Must have cost you an arm and a leg." Or something like that. Or arm and some legs, I guess. Yeah, the progression is terrible. Yeah, that's what I'm playing on PS4 Pro, except you can't turn HDR on when you're streaming. And to get a consistent stream, it needs to stream at about 720p instead of being able to do anything in 4K. But yeah, when I'm off stream, it's gorgeous looking.
Ready.
There we go. Yeah, I've hit the point where the progression is annoying because most of the time once I've saved up to get a crate, the crate is just going to give me a little bit of crafting parts, a little bit of credits, and oh look, duplicates of shit I already have. Every single time. I thought the humor worked well. I mean, I thought the humor was... It's more modern humor than classic humor. But it's also more in keeping with the way that the humor was built into the original trilogy rather than, say, the prequels. So, yeah, I thought the humor was fine. It boggles my mind all the people bitching about the humor in The Last Jedi. Like, they expected it to be a dour, completely dark, there is no light, there is no hope, there is no reason to laugh, God, life sucks kind of movie. No. Get your head back over there. Is he dead? I bet you he's dead. Somebody else got it. Come on!
Fuel station control compromised.
Yeah, this would be pretty awesome to play in VR, definitely. Especially if you're able to use the aim controller, the PSVR aim controller. That'd be pretty... Ah, it's gonna shoot him in the face, but too slow. That would be pretty sweet. Actually, that's what I'm actually probably going to be playing once I'm done with the stream here. I'm probably going to jump back into Doom VFR, which is phenomenal. And then I really need to make some more progress in Skyrim VR, which I've really only just started. I'm about to fight my first dragon in the next mission on Skyrim VR, so that'll be pretty sweet. I never played a Skyrim game or an Elder Scrolls game at all prior to it. Never played Skyrim prior to the VR version, so I'm getting a kick out of it. Oh, you meant reach out like... Yeah. Oh, it must be really strong with you. Whack!
We're locked out of the main computer.
And the look on his face is like, you're an idiot. Kill the entire person. Oh, I missed it. Cool. Anybody? Hello?
They're shutting
Hello?
down the fuel station.
No. Dang it, can't get a good feed on that area from here. And that doesn't open. Crap! Sorry! What? I don't get that one. I don't get it. Enemy locking. Oh, it's that stupid turret. That friggin' ion turret thing. The vehicle killer oh! Smoked by someone with the exact same gun as me, so I don't feel nearly as bad. Yeah, the heroes fall pretty quickly. I think the idea is to make it so that more people can have the opportunity to play as them, to have them in fast rotation. But yeah, they do fall pretty easy.
Rebel override disabled. Fuel station resecured.
Anybody? Anybody? Oh, somebody. Oh, you're shooting at me from over there, you mother...
Haha, I can shoot you through the barrels, bitch!
Get back over here. Oh, you put down a shield. Wuss. Are you afraid of me? Is that what is happening here?
I want the rebels out of there.
Yeah. Of those two? Kylo would be bending down on his knee to be like, I'm not worthy, in Wayne's World style, and then Vader would kill him. If he had to. Assault an officer? See, my favorites are the opposite. I tend to like playing with heavy or a specialist. And that's just not going to do... This guy's never going to come out of his... Oh, there he get. It's gone. Is he still there? He probably ran far, far away already. Well, crap. Somebody's shooting at me, I think, but I can't tell where from. I keep seeing the blasts zip by my head. Oh, duh! Derp! Ooh, somebody's going full on,
Walker Bay resecured. Override deactivated.
Damn it, come on. Ah, killed. But at least not by the guy I was shooting at, so that's okay. Officer is a lot better once you unlock the gun that's basically a sniper rifle.
I'm ready.
A sniper rifle pistol. A sniper pistol.
Walker Bay systems under attack.
Everybody run!
The rebels are launching the AT-AT. Withdraw now, or you will all be dead.
Officer's much better when you don't have to play as an... Yeah. Officer's much better when you're getting your ass kicked by the officer.
The AT-AT will move.
I mean, they could. They would have. There would have to be some type of either an end to the contract, and then they just don't renew the contract, the license contract, or they could wind up in a position where they make some kind of argument that there was a breach of contract of some kind in something that EA did, and then they could pull it. And they can't just drop it like willy-nilly, because there's a contract involved. But theoretically, yeah, in the long run. Entrapment, a long time ago. Like so long ago that I don't remember anything about it. I wouldn't even been able to tell you it was Sean Connery if he hadn't said it. See, JLC, you're trying to trick me. Kylo Ren versus 40 men in a Royal Rumble match. I'm assuming Royal Rumble is a WWE or otherwise professional wrestling term, and no one would win because it's all fake shit that's staged. Therefore, everybody comes out happy. Corellian Trilogy was not one of my favorites, but it's a good one to see the young Solo kids. Give them some... They finally really kind of get some characterization in that trilogy. Damn it, Ray!
Walker taking hits.
You're a monster! A monster! With an AH at the end instead of an ER.
Rebel scum.
Yeah, EA as a publisher is not very well... They don't have much of a positive reputation. Which sucks because a lot of their developers are really quite good. I mean, DICE, BioWare, and so forth. But EA as a publisher a lot of times forces these boneheaded decisions that wind up reflecting badly on the developers.
Ready.
Now, I think he was... For him to be able to do all that, that's a lot to try to do at once. And maintain being an illusion. But maybe. Oh! Shot by somebody who was just standing there that I happened to walk by. Yeah, Anakin Solo was a cool character. I hate the way that they dealt with the character later, all because Lucas was like, we can't do certain things with this character because there's already an Anakin in my current movies and we don't want people to get confused because, you know, Star Wars fans are idiots. So his characterization and Jason's characterization kind of get flip-flopped later. It would be cool to see the Rebels characters, but they would have to do them in a more lifelike way, and the only time we've ever seen them try to do the Rebels characters in a lifelike way has been Fantasy Flight games, and some of them look fine and some of them are horrid. Like, oh my god, the nose on Fantasy Fight Games Ezra. Oh my god. Oh, up on the cliff and coming around the corner. Me in my bright stark white and them in their camouflage. Knights of Ren thing, we don't know. I mean, they haven't explained it yet. We just know that it's some type of order and Kylo is theoretically the one who brings it together. Or at least is the current leader of it, but that's about it. Better director? Depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking for a movie that's more philosophical and thought-provoking and character-driven, or are you looking for something that's more action-adventure? Action-adventure, you go with JJ. If you're wanting something a little more unusual, you go with Johnson. Up high. That's right. Get up here above the battlefield. I'm so high right now, I could have written Legends of Luke Skywalker.
Count to 0.
Did she just say count to 0? Wouldn't you have to count down to 0? If you count to 0, isn't it like 0? And then you're done. Hello, what have we here?
Use the caves for cover.
Looking forward to Johnson's new trilogy? Sure. Looking forward to any new Star Wars film to some degree. It's just that the Han Solo one has me kind of like, meh. Let's see. Do you feel this? Yeah, it seems like, I mean, it makes sense that you know, Ben worked as an A, and this is an individual that at least, you know, Leia was paying homage to, although Leia doesn't appear to have really known him at all. It was more that her dad did. Yeah, I definitely think Anakin had more of a significance, and they were able to pull to play up the fears, right? Because even when Leia was pregnant with Anakin in Legends, there are those instances of her being afraid of raising the next Vader. Of course, it doesn't wind up being Anakin that becomes the next Vader. It's basically Jason. But that's only because Lucas came in and changed made them change their plan because they didn't want to have two similar Anakin stories going at the same time because he thought we were freaking idiots. They haven't announced any spin-offs after Solo yet. Everybody's kind of hoping that it'll be something like an Obi-Wan, but they haven't announced a thing. Not a single thing confirmed at all.
That rocket left it dead.
Yeah, Han did know Obi-Wan a little bit.
Enemy commander landing. Be prepared.
An Uncle Owen movie. Entitled Hell to Pay. And it turns out that it's all about the first time that he accidentally didn't get his own droids when he was a kid repaired by midday, so that's how he knew there'd be hell to pay to tell Luke there'd be hell to pay.
Shooting our own walker. No glory today.
Yeah, I do think that that's a good way, is the division between Star Wars fans and movie fans, but that may be a little too simplistic. I do know there's a lot of Star Wars fans who aren't big fans, but like the guy that brought me into the Sequart Star Wars essay anthologies, Rich Handley, big Star Wars fan, has written for Star Wars, wrote for Star Wars a heck of a lot more than I ever did, and has written about Star Wars more than I ever have, and yet he said it left him cold. So, you know, there's a lot of division. I think it's a question of what kind of story people expected or wanted it to be. versus what we got. I think that sometimes, though, that is a mark of a good story in that it's not so predictable that everyone is happy with its mediocrity.
Heading home.
Rebel forces defeated. All troops withdraw.
See, I think that is going to get him into trouble. The fact that it's not all planned out, because they're talking about how the story group, well, they're there to kind of coordinate stuff and everything, but no, it seems much more like, yeah, just do whatever the hell you want, and we'll see. If it doesn't fit, we'll give you some suggestions on how to make it fit, etc., etc. Yeah, no. There needs to be a plan, at least in the general outline, at least for a trilogy of films, instead of just saying, do whatever the heck you want each time. That's worrisome. And Lazot, man, I actually thought that might be the case, but I didn't say it, because Lazot in Bizot. So that is cool. Forrest is in the house, right as I'm getting ready to kind of wrap things up here. Last thing Obi-Wan had to do was push Anakin into the lava to complete his mission. That's, yeah, if he's supposed to take out Vader. But remember, same reason why he didn't kill Anakin. You know, after he cut his legs off. The whole thing about, you know, one is an act in combat and the other one will be just outright murder, and it's just it's against the Jedi way. Sure would have saved a lot of trouble for the galaxy, though, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's true. The original trilogy was not nearly as planned out. There are still people who claim that the prequels were already planned out back in the 70s, despite the whole, all I need is an idea. Lucasism becoming fairly well known from the beginning documentary on the, I think it was a VHS of Phantom Menace. It's always right here. Like, I put these on. The pressure from this part right here gets me. And by the time I'm done playing, my jaw freaking hurts. One unopened crate. My daily. Just finished watching and doing rewatching and doing a video from the Star Wars Home Video Library on People vs. George Lucas. Not a very balanced production, but an interesting production. Yeah, the annotated screenplays was really cool as far as actually dispelling the myths and giving you a sense of how it actually wound up going. Let's see. So I'm at 49, so I'm about a third of the way there with about 2 weeks left. That's not bad. I really hope that Iden Versio Booster Crate gives me something good, though. I don't want to work all this way to finish up this milestone or this challenge, only to wind up having it be some crap I've already got, which usually is what happens. Let's see. What do I even have for Iden? I don't think I have much for her yet. No, I mean, if it's that one, or that one, it would still be a new card, and if it was a boosted up version of that one, it would still be useful, or if we got a rare, if any of those three would still be useful, so okay, I mean, I could see that. I dig it. It's cool. It's cool. Oh, man. What I think Garrick didn't add a new member of Inferno Squad after Sane's death, because plot hole. Basically. He should have, but didn't. Have I played as Phasma? Yes, but I've only played as Phasma a couple of times. Because most of the stuff that I'm still trying to do, I try to focus on the soldier-based stuff as opposed to the hero-based stuff. Well, it's some of the progression is the random crates, right? So you can craft your own cards. And you can do what I've done before to get yourself to the next card level to be able to craft cards of higher rarities. It's just that, you know, if it tells me that to upgrade a card, I need heavy card level 25, and I'm at 21, to get an epic version of this, for instance, I need to have the crafting parts, which don't come nearly as fast as they should. Especially given the fact that they told us that duplicate star cards were originally going to give us crafting parts, and that was bullshit. It turns out that it only gave us credits. See ya, EK. And I mean, in theory, if I need 4 more little tick marks on different cards to be able to get me up to level 25 to upgrade that to an epic if I've got enough crafting parts, then I could always just do that one, that one, that one, and that one for 40 each. Get the 1 tick version of each of those. That knocks me up 4 more. I get to that higher tier, and I get it. So it's partially under your control, but it's a slog when it's under your control. The fastest means to do anything is through the crates, but the crates with the duplicate aspect to it and such make it almost useless. They need to have them probably a little more narrowed down in terms of what you get. JL, I have no idea. I would bet probably so, just because I'm not sure if I would have the time to do any more streams on Thursday or Friday because of the meetings that I have. But tomorrow probably, and if so, it'll probably be this. I don't see myself picking up any new VR games. I don't think any new VR games came out this week that were all that interesting to me, but I haven't looked at the PSN store yet. But yeah, so probably this and probably tomorrow, but I couldn't say when. All right, so need to be heading out of here now. We've gone almost a half an hour again. For those who are not familiar, I am Nathan P. Butler. This is my YouTube channel. You can find From the Star Wars Home Video Library here. You can find Fantasy Fight Games reviews and such here, PlayStation VR Let's Plays and stuff like that. All here, a PlayStation VR buying guide if you're still looking for one of those and you want to see where the new equipment is. I also do podcasting, Star Wars Beyond the Films with Mark Herleman and Cloud City Casino with Michael Morris, both hosted at StarWarsReport.com. You can find my Star Wars Timeline Gold, the most comprehensive Star Wars chronology available anywhere at StarWarsFanWorks.com/timeline. And of course, I'm the author of A Saga on Home Video, a fan's guide to U.S. Star Wars home video releases, which some people in the chat have actually bought, which is awesome, which you can find actually over on Amazon right now. My Patreon, if you're curious for some exclusive content, is patreon.com/NathanBButler. Woo! Ends the spiel. All right, guys, I'm going to head out of here. Thank you all for watching. Feel free to continue chatting if it allows you to. And then I'll be back hopefully with another stream if time permits, which it probably should, tomorrow. So, thanks, everybody.